So, camera team, when you're ready, just give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Yeah, sure. All right. Good. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very, very first speech for the National Junior Semi-Finals. So, on stage we have Samuel. Samuel, when you're ready, you can start your speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Samuel and I'm a Bergama people. I'm going to give a speech about corruption like a cancer. Good morning to esteemed guests, teachers and fellow students. When we talk about cancer, we simply understand that it doesn't affect the body, but it spreads. What's just like a small, localized scar mentally into something far more dangerous. It can destroy organs, functions, and even someone's life. This, my friends, it is exactly what corruption does to a nation. It is a cancer spreading silently and eating at everything it touches. Imagine a world where schools have to turn away children because there aren't enough resources. Imagine hospitals where patients cannot get care they can't get care they need because the money they have to pay for the patient is not there. In Uganda, corruption may seem like an abstract issue, but its impact is all too real. And it touches us all. Every single day, I want to share a simple but heartbreaking story. In one village in Uganda, a child named Amina struggled every day with her schoolwork. She was bright and full of dreams, but despite her efforts, she was falling behind. Why? Because her school's infrastructure was complaining teachers, whereas classrooms were overcrowded and there wasn't not textbooks. The resources promised by the government never arrived, but a few officials who had to access these textbooks. So these textbooks weren't, and Archimedes the student never succeeded. Why? Because Amina, the child, never had a lot of resources. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Samuel, for that lovely speech. I now welcome the next speaker to take stage and to continue. Sulaiman. Are you ready? We can start.
My name is Kakoza Nudin Sulaiman from Bright Kama School. When we look around us, we see a country with incredible potential. Uganda is a land of opportunity, rich in resources, talents, and ambitions. But there is one thing that threatens to destroy all of this: corruption. Corruption is like a cancer spreading and diversing. It weakens our nation, destroys trust, and stops progress in its tracks. If we don't act, Uganda's future will be one consumed by this disease. Every day we hear about corruption scandals, from schools where resources are misused, to hospitals where funds are meant to save people's lives are stolen. But have we ever stopped to think at all this takes each of us? Imagine a student named Sarah. Sarah's just like any other child, full of hope and dreams of the future. But when she goes to school, she finds broken desks, inefficient textbooks, and crowded classes. Why? Because the money that was meant to improve her education system was stolen. Her future was held back by greedy overfew. And this is reality in many children across Uganda. And not just education system. Corruption affects everything. It affects healthcare, it affects our roads, and it affects our security. Every area in our society is touched by it. And every day, the cancer of corruption spreads, affecting more and more people. We also stand together as students and must advocate for education reforms that ensure every school receives the funding it needs. If we come together, we can root out the cancer of corruption and replace it with the medicine of trust, integrity, and justice. Corruption is one thing that we must refuse to take part of corrupt practices, whether offering, accepting a bribe, or turning a blind eye when we know something is wrong. Together, we can defeat corruption. We start by demanding for accountability, speaking out where we see injustice, and refuse to take part of corrupt practices that damage our people, that our people are fidgeting to get that health care, but they are stolen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Samuel, for that fine speech. And I want to call the third speaker, Courtney, onto stage to give your submissions. Hello, Courtney. Are you ready? You can start.
My name is Mukunde Courtney Delia from Hope Junior School. Good morning, everyone. Almost everyone knows something about corruption and cancer. If we know those two, we obviously also know the similarities, how both of them are dangerous to our country, Uganda. And I'm here to at least give you and explain to you those similarities and how we can control them. We know that cancer attacks our body in many ways. We have many types of cancer. In those types of cancer, it's the way we have corruption spreading almost everywhere. As we know that cancer spreads like a wildfire, that's how corruption is spreading in our country, Uganda. Corruption spreads rapidly. It doesn't stop in one place. If it starts right here, it has to fill up the whole entire place. That's the way cancer attacks our body. It attacks one part of the body and it spreads almost everywhere. If we do not control it earlier, it becomes the worst. It demands collective efforts. If we do not work on our corruption in Uganda, Uganda will be very, very bad. So we should try to control the spread of corruption. Speaking to our leaders, as we know that corruption is mostly in the leaders who lead us. We should try to control that type of cancer that is spreading everywhere. I conclude by saying, let's fight corruption in our country, Uganda, for God and my country. Thank you.
Round of applause for Courtney, everyone. Thank you. Thank you very much, Courtney. And now I want to call on stage Rodney to give you submissions. Are you ready? Start.
My name is Kawesa Rodney, and I come from Light Academy Primary School. So, I wake up one night and remember my mother and our family. It was 1 year ago when my mother fell sick. She got sick of malaria. And how did she get sick? She never had a mosquito net to sleep with. After some time, the government was serving out mosquito nets. Even though we asked politely, they never gave us. They wanted money. And me and my father couldn't afford to buy a mosquito net. So we just let her die. We had nothing to do. We were poor. But we could not afford. After some time, she died. My father and I were poor, depressed and sad. So, after some time, my father left me, go to the orphanage. He left me and he abandoned me. So you see, corruption is like a cancer, but I believe we can stop it together. My speech has ended.
Thank you very much, Rodney, for your fine speech. And I want to call Iman to the stage to give you a speech. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, we can start.
My name is Iman Yusuf. I'm from Media Club. Corruption is one problem we have in Uganda. It doesn't just take a little time, it spreads and destroys lives, just as cancer awakens the body. Corruption weakens our communities. It takes away what we need most: medicine, schools, and safe roads. It leaves us with pain and losses. But here's something we need to remember. Just as cancer can be treated, corruption can be stopped. We are the doctors in this fight. Every time we choose to be honest, every time we refuse to take or give a bribe, we are stopping corruption. Let us be the first fighters and whistleblowers together with agencies like Anti-Corruption Unit. We can fight and chase out this cancer. We can also use our voices if we see corruption. We can report it if we hear about money being misused. We can demand accountability, and we can teach each other, especially young people, about the importance of honesty and fairness. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Iman, for that fine speech. I now call on stage Hibatula to give your speech. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, start.
My name is Mubiriniram Hibatula, and I am from KY Primary School. I am here to enforce to you the cancer that you all know, but you don't believe that it's a cancer. We have a serious problem we are facing today. This is not just a problem, but also a disease. A disease not caused by vectors, a disease not caused by animals, but a disease caused by us, the humans. A disease that is causing people to be imprisoned, a disease that is causing people to get jailed, a disease that is killing people. A disease that is a killer of friendship, a killer of career, and a cause of enmity. Before highlighting that disease to you, let me tell you about Rose. Rose was a young girl who lived in our village. She lived with her grandmother from childhood to the age of 16. One day, Rose's grandmother fell very ill. But unfortunately, there wasn't enough money to get her admitted to the hospital. Rose decided to work hard in order to raise the money. She took on many jobs like cooking on events, mopping people's houses, and so many others. Fortunately, Rose managed to raise the money, and she quickly took her grandmother to the hospital. All the doctors rushed to work upon Rose's grandmother, but unfortunately, a rich woman approached with her sick husband. She promised to pay double if the doctors had worked upon her sick husband. All the doctors rushed away from Rose's grandmother and put all their attention onto the rich woman's son. Rose was very heartbroken, and do you know the outcome? Rose's grandmother passed on. Rose's grandmother did not just die of any usual disease, but died because of the cancer, and that cancer is corruption. Corruption is not any kind of cancer. It's a cancer that led to the death of Rose's grandmother, a cancer that led to the death of Rose's only guardian. From then, Rose sought to become a police officer and arrest all corrupt officials. Let us raise our voices to support Rose. Let us also fight against that cancer. I know and believe we can. With the power of friendship and cooperation, corruption is going to get killed. This cancer is going to be abolished from our country. I believe we can. It's all about unity and cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Petula, for that fine speech. I now call upon Martha to give your speech. You have 3 minutes. Are you ready? Okay, start.
My name is Runji Martha from Parental Care Nursery and Primary School, Busheng. I'm here to present a speech about corruption. Corruption, the incurable cancer. Every time I wonder what the fate of my beloved country is because of the increasing rates of corruption and the deliberate silence from those that hold an upper hand in fighting against it. In the health, transport, education, and civil service sectors, the main aspect hindering a steady progress is the same. My name is Muji Martha, in Primary 6 at Parental Care Nursery and Primary School, Busheng. Call me a frustrated Ugandan. Today, I would like to share my perspective on this incurable disease with you all. Corruption has time and again consumed the pride of our country and exposed the weaknesses in many of these sectors. We are having many incomplete service providers in public offices because they paid bribes to secure these jobs. Some exchange their bodies for positions out of despair, favoritism, and nepotism. Leaders bribe voters to win elections together with the empty promises they make, only to assume power and abandon their responsibility. Instead, they focus on their personal financial growth and providing a comfortable life for their families, only to leave their subjects with extremely poor health facilities that lack drugs, roads filled with potholes wide as water sources, accidents becoming a daily portion, while teachers regularly strike over low payments that are even delayed, buildings of public schools in extremely poor conditions, some of which even get affected by floods. Traffic officers letting unlicensed drivers go scot-free because of bribes, taking lives of many. All this puts my heart on the line. However,
we can make our country regain her honor and prestige by refusing to pay bribes, supporting the anti-corruption unit by reporting to them the corrupt officials in these public offices, as well as following up these cases. For the leaders in power, do not abuse your offices because nothing lasts forever. You may not be the one to pay the price, but fate will catch up with you one day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mother, for that lovely speech. I now call upon Amal on stage to give your speech. You have 3 minutes to make your submission. Are you ready?
Yes.
You can start.
Good morning. My name is Amal Katongole. Today, I stand before you to discuss a harsh reality that affects us all, corruption. In Uganda, corruption is just a political issue. It is a cancer, silent, insidious, and deadly, that threatens every aspect of our society. It begins small, perhaps with a bribe or an act of dishonesty, but it grows, spreading through every corner of life. It diverts muddy hospitals and clean water into the hands of a few, robbing us opportunities and a bright future. Imagine a child eager to learn, striving for a better tomorrow, but faced with crowded classrooms, broken facilities, and no textbooks. This is not due to lack of resources, because of funds meant to support their education have been stolen. The same happens to our hospitals, where patients they pay bribes. Dreams are shattered, lives are lost, and progress is still stalled. All because of corruption. But we can stop this. We cannot wait for others to fight this battle for us. It begins with us, with our voices, our actions, and our unity. First, we must speak out. We cannot stay silent when we see corruption. Whether in our classrooms, our communities, or our government offices, we must expose it. Every Ugandan must stand up and say, enough is enough. Second, we must demand accountability on their promises and be transparent in their actions. Honesty and integrity must be foundation of our nation. Third, we must lead by example. Fighting corruption starts with refusing to participate in it. Even when it is tempting to give in, it's about teaching the next generation integrity is not negotiable and essential for a strong society. This fight will not be easy. It demands courage, resilience, and collective commitment to change. But it's a fight worth fighting. Uganda's children deserve better, schools that inspire learning, hospitals that heal. I urge each of you to take a stand. Let us reject corruption in all its forms. Let us demand justice, embrace accountability, and pray for a future defined by integrity. Together we can stop this cancer from consuming us. Thank you.
Thank you, Amal, for that lovely speech. A very kind request to the audience, the students, and the teachers. We are asking for silence as we continue with the rounds. We would like to listen to all the speeches without any interruptions, so we'd be very, very happy if we would be a bit silent. Thank you very much. I'd like to call upon Amon on stage to give you a speech. You have 3 minutes. Are you ready?
Yes.
Start.
My name is Nkuziza Amon from St. Paul Junior School. Paul Kagame once said that corruption is a cancer that must cut out to allow democracy to grow and economies to thrive. Ladies and gentlemen, both corruption and cancer are making development to decline. This is by funds are embezzled that would be used to construct infrastructure, and then cancer can affect skilled laborers that would help in constructing infrastructure. It is very ironic that cancer only affects our beloved ones in our families. Similarly, corruption is mostly done by those we trust with our votes as leaders. If we don't fight against this corruption, this cancer called corruption, our country will never develop. People will be unemployed. People will die. So, I call upon the government to engage local leaders, civil society organizations, citizens in decision-making processes. Then, citizens should be educated about the negative outcomes of corruption. Impart patriotism into the citizens so that they can love their country and become whistleblowers. I think a person who loves their country cannot be corrupt. Let's educate the young generation about the dangers of corruption so that they can grow while fighting it. I believe that if we fight against this corruption, our country will be at the top. Our country will develop, infrastructure will develop. Conclusively, corruption is indeed like a cancer, spreading silently, weakening our institutions, robbing us from the future we deserve. But just as cancer can be treated with determination, unity, and action, so can corruption. I believe that if languages like Kit Kidogo and other slangs of corruption disappear, corruption will then be a history. Our country will develop, we will have freedom, we will increase our health services. Service delivery will be at its top. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Amon, for that fine speech. I now call on stage Michael to give you a speech. You have 3 minutes to make your submissions. Are you ready? Let's start.
My name is Tumwebaze Michael, a primary 6 student at Parental Care, Nursery and Primary School, Busheng. Corruption, the uncurable cancer. A heart that is conscious of its own integrity is ever slow to credit another's treachery. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you with a heart laden with pain and dismay. Allow me address a plague that has torn our society apart and infested our economy. A disease that you and me have witnessed eating up our society. A deadly cancer that has eaten up different aspects of our life. My esteemed audience, my name is Tumwebaze Michael, a primary at Parental Care, Nursery and Primary School, Busheng. You must agree with me when I say that corruption is a relentless force that has held our country captive for a couple of years and now spreading its dark roots and suffocating all that is good and just. Corruption, a cancer eating our nation, eating away at every institution, from the highest government officers to the lowest of them all. This cancer has many faces and names. It's the bribe that is paid to secure a contract, the kickback that is received for a favor rendered. It's the embezzlement of public funds, the theft of resources meant for the many. It's the nepotism that promotes the idea that it's our trust, our faith in institutions, and our hope for a better future. One that breeds inequality, perpetuates poverty, and denies opportunity to those who need it most. In as much as the cancer exists, there is need to combat it. First and foremost, we must acknowledge its existence and its destructive power. We must demand more from our leaders, more transparency, more accountability, and more integrity. We must support institutions that are working to combat corruption and hold accountable those who are found guilty and corrupt. We must recognize that the fight against corruption is not just a fight against a system, but one against ourselves, our own apathy and its promotion, for a brighter future, for a fairer society, and for a world that is just and equitable. Let's join the fight against corruption. Let's join the fight against corruption, this incurable cancer that threatens to consume us all. Thank you for listening.
Right. Thank you very much, Michael, for that fine speech. I now welcome on stage Emanuela to give you a speech. You have 3 minutes to make your submissions.
Bearing the rumor that Emanuela Ayera is my name and I come from Bara Municipal School. Ladies and gentlemen, corruption is a plague that has infested our country, affecting every aspect of our lives. Just like cancer weakens the body, corruption weakens our communities, our nation, and our world. Imagine a world where no parent loses a child because of missing medicine. This world is possible if you and I work together to stop corruption. Today, I want to share a story with you about my friend Rina. Rina is a victim of corruption. Rina and I are best friends. We would walk to school every single morning together. But unfortunately, Rina's family was very poor, that they failed to get food sometimes. One day, Rina's mother fell very sick. So, Rina decided to take her mother to the government hospital. As soon as she reached the hospital, she met a doctor. She said to the doctor, "Please help me. My mother is about to die." But the doctor responded, "First pay the money, then we shall treat your ill mother." Can you imagine, ladies and gentlemen? First paying the money before treating the patient. Yet it was a government hospital which was built to cater for the public. And unfortunately, at the end of the day, Rina's mother died. This story is not so unique to Rina. Many of us here have experienced corruption in one form or another. But corruption is not just a personal problem, no. It is a national problem that is affecting our progress in our country. Here are some potential solutions to stop corruption. To begin with, strengthening our institutions such as the judiciary, the anti-corruption agencies, and the media to ensure that they are effective, independent, and corruption-free. Vividly, implementing technological-based solutions. We can use technology to simplify processes and reduce opportunities for corruption. As if that's not enough, leading by example. This goes to you, my fellow leaders. We must show accountability, integrity, and transparency. You must show that corruption won't be tolerated in any of your areas. Lastly, encouraging and educating our citizens. We need to educate our citizens about the dangers of corruption and the importance of integrity. In conclusion, I urge you to join me in fighting this cancer known as corruption. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Emanuela, for that fine speech. I now call to stage Jeremiah to give you a speech. You have 3 minutes to make your submissions.
My name is Nasasa Jeremiah from Media Club. Let me tell you a story. In a small village, not far from here, children were excited to start a new school year. The government had promised to build a beautiful classroom with desks, textbooks, and even a library. The children couldn't wait to sit in their classrooms and learn. But when the day came, they found nothing but an empty room with broken desks and no books. They wondered what happened. The money meant for their school had been taken by the people responsible. Instead of helping the children, these people bought themselves expensive cars and built big houses. This is not something that I heard, but I witnessed myself.